So hello everyone, welcome. Let's give it a couple 2 more minutes for everyone to join the session, and I will kickstart. Thank you. Okay, so let's begin. So hello everyone, welcome and thank you for your time to take this webinar. I will be your host for this section. I'm Jack from the customer success team, the account manager that mainly covers the Hong Kong market. So I'm pleased to meet you all and to further share insights on our latest and hot feature, Flow Builder, where you can also specialize the knowledge and carry out the practice to streamline your businesses through different kind of automated actions in the conversations or various occasions. So let's begin. So let's move on to the last session of this series of webinars. And in today's content, I will cover what are webhooks, when to use a webhook. There are 4 common scenarios that we will be providing. And then the types of webhook triggers and actions in Flow Builder. And lastly, I will use a very simple Google Sheet and SleekFlow integration to demonstrate you how you can utilize webhooks in your business. So what are webhooks? Webhooks are like a postal system for apps. When something specific happens in one app, it sends a letter directly to another app's mailbox. The letter, in this context, known as a payload, carries all the details about the events that just occurred. The beauty of webhooks lies in their ability to actively listen for these events and automatically send the payload, ensuring the receiving app is instantly updated with the information. So when do you use a webhook? Webhooks are incredibly useful when you want to automate event-driven tasks between SleekFlow and other platforms. Here are a few ways you might want to use a webhook. So the very first one here, notifying customers of order status. If you run an online store, webhooks can link your e-commerce platform to WhatsApp. When an order status changes, a webhook automatically sends a WhatsApp message to your customer with the updates, keeping customers informed and reducing where's my order queries. The second one, sending automatic booking reminders. For salons or clinics, the sales teams can use webhooks to connect an appointment system to WhatsApp. This automatically sends reminders to clients about their upcoming bookings, reducing no-shows and ensuring schedules run smoothly. So the third one here, updating CRM with customer queries. Customer support teams can set up webhooks to automatically convert messages from WhatsApp into tickets in CRM tools. This ensures no query goes unnoticed. And similarly, you can back up WhatsApp conversations that are coming from the customers. Operations managers in finance or healthcare can use webhooks to facilitate automatic backups of WhatsApp chats into internal database. This keeps chat records organized and audit ready. So the first two cases involve external actions causing SleekFlow to respond, which is an inbound using triggers. And the last two use cases are about sending data from SleekFlow to other systems, which is outbound using specific actions. So next, we will explain the different triggers and actions in Flow Builder that manage these inbound and outbound data flows. So the first type, which is the webhook receive trigger, this trigger creates a webhook URL when set up, which you need to share with the external platform. This tells the platform where to send the data to SleekFlow. For example, when a new order is placed on an e-commerce store, and SleekFlow gets the order details, it triggers the corresponding workflow in SleekFlow. Although there's a note for you, if you can recall in our very first section, by using this trigger, we have to ensure that the trigger ID and token can be input in the external sources. Imagine it is a place for us to contain the key to open the gate in SleekFlow. So the second one is passing trigger message webhook payload. This action takes what you get in a SleekFlow message from the customer, text, files, customer name, phone number, etc., as a payload to another app. It's useful when you want to use the details from a WhatsApp conversation to trigger specific actions in other platforms, such as logging a support ticket in a CRM or initiating a follow-up task in a project management tool. So you can also imagine payload is something that you order in a restaurant where the ingredient or dressing is all fully prepared by the chef. So the last one here is passing contact webhook payloads. So while the previous action focused on message content, this one is tailored for contact data. It's designed to send contact details from SleekFlow to the external systems. For instance, if you have a lead coming in, firstly WhatsApp you for the first time, the contact payload can directly be synced to your external system, letting you to make a record of the new leads. This ensures your external CRM system always have the latest record of the new leads.
So there you go, everyone. Here's some basic knowledge on the webhook and what it is capable of doing in SleekFlow Flow Builder. But now let me also show you how to do a setup in the Flow Builder so you have a better understanding on the practice. So let's go to Flow Builder again. Okay. So I can give you two of the simple examples, probably also mentioned in the video. The very first one is, imagine you have fully new contacts that never exist in SleekFlow, and then they WhatsApp you. So now, like you learned earlier, we can do a trigger point where new customer sending us the message. And then select the WhatsApp channel. So now you might be wondering if you can keep the record of this new customer or new leads to your external system. So let's say using Google Sheet in this example. Then simply, we can just add the action before doing any auto reply or auto assignment. We can then use the external integration here by directly sending the contact webhook. So once you select the action on the right-hand side, this is what we have mentioned is your destination or something you want to pass the data to. So that will be in a URL format. And then you can also preview our payload. Like I said, there should be the contact details or phone number for you to identify this fully new contacts in your external source. And then later on, you can also design whether to add action like you have learned over all webinars during this week. And then for the second example, imagine you are running a something related to booking, right? So daily, you might target some contacts to send a booking confirmation. And in the message, perhaps it's a template message. There's a button for them to confirm the booking. So this time, we can change the state of the tree to incoming message received. And then also select the channel again. So we are using the message keywords since we want to target those who click on the confirm button. It can be contains exactly, let's say, confirm booking. And since every time we do such sending, we probably use a broadcast because we want to bulk sending all this content. So every broadcast, you contain a list. So to narrow down the target audience. So let's say it's any of the list, for example. The next action, since we want to pass what they have clicked on the button, so that means a response from them to our external source. Then here we can actually change the action. So last example, we pass the contact webhook. And this time we use the send trigger message webhook. So again, there's a URL for you to input where to send this data to, and then also providing you the preview payload. So you can see there's message content on top of those basic contact profile details. So in this case, I want to pass the data to Google Sheet, for example, where I have already created a Google Sheet. So since SleekFlow and Google Sheet can't directly integrate it, so I have to use an external source, which is called the Zapier, for me to further pass the details or data to Google Sheet. So this should be similar to most of the external sources, where you can set the workflow outside of SleekFlow to do the trigger. So in Zapier right here, since we are catching a hook, webhook from SleekFlow. So in Flow Builder, in Zapier, sorry, we can directly say webhook as a trigger event. Then you'll be seeing what is exactly the event is. So here we can actually catch the hook. Then continue. And we can also ignore this part. And I think most of the cases, you can use a text sample to test the whole trigger. So how to set it up? Simply, here it's actually the URL in Zapier. So it's kind of part of the destinations. We simply just copy it or from any external source once they provide you the webhook URL. We always go back to SleekFlow and then paste it in the webhook URL. So once the flow is triggered, the webhook will be sent to this destination. And in Zapier, we can further move on to the next action. So in this example, it's a Google Sheet integration. So I'm going to use Google Sheet. Since I want to create a record on the newly customers or to ensure that the message can be passed, I can simply just say create spreadsheet row whenever there's a webhook passing. So again, link to your accounts. And the action, it's also similar. Once we select all the value here, then you can see whenever there's a column or property field in your external source, and this is Google Sheet in this time, where I have phone number, name, confirm message, attendance. Once you set it up as a template, now actually we can decide what actually in the data within the webhooks can be passed. So let's say phone number, we can use the catch webhook. It's like filling the blanks because the webhook contains all these kind of messages or details. So we go back to the action here. By the time you can just fill it in. So without any coding knowledge or technical background, it's quite simple for you to fill in the blanks. So when it's done, you can also test it and then publish. So to make it fully automatically based on the connection between Flow Builder. And later on, you will see the update being done in the Google Sheet. So side notes, I will also want to show one of the example that we include in the video, which is how we receive webhook. So like I mentioned earlier, there's a webhook URL. It's where this time is SleekFlow as the destination because you want to pass the data into SleekFlow. But so far, because SleekFlow required you to put an external key into the external source, which is the trigger ID here and the token here. And you can see the format here with the H, what we call header. So whenever you can see your sources or the CRM contains a place for you to create webhook, it has to be a header session for you to input this two value to make sure that there's a key to open SleekFlow. So if without these two value to be input, this Flow Builder cannot be activated. So just for your heads up. Okay. So that will be it. It's a quite simple example to share with you the brief ideas on how to using passing webhook and receiving webhook. So let's give it a pause to see if anyone has any questions. Oh, thank you, Kenny, for your question. So I saw you asking what's the difference between HTTP request and webhook. Let me go back to the screen, give you more ideas. So like I mentioned in the video, webhook, you can imagine it is a what you order in the restaurants, right? So you order a dish, the chef will prepare with the ingredients and pass it to you. So there's really minimal extent of customization. So you can only send in what we have right here. Let me give you an example in the preview payload. So this is the only thing that you can pass to your external sources. That's the default details or settings from what we are providing you. to the external sources. However, if you really want to do further, like customization, deciding what to be being passed or anything have been updated in the flow. So let's say the example that you have seen in the previous section, let's say anytime a contact send a message and we save the response, perhaps response. And by using webhook, we can't really passing this kind of information to the external sources since this is fully customized. So in this case, we have to use the HTTP request right here. So it's also a form of webhook, but to an extra extent where you can customize the body or what data to be passed. So let's say since we are still passing out the data, the method will be post right here. And then also again, using the URL to define where the destination is. And then in the body right here, that's the key. So you can see in the webhook, we also have the body of the payload. And here you can actually imagine. So where the data will be stored in your external sources. So let's say perhaps there's a property field called chat record in the external sources to contain what we are passing from SleekFlow, which is you don't also need to input. Here's the variables. Since we already saved the flow variables, you can simply just pick what to be stored over there. But make sure to put in the double bracket here to be a code format. And also you can try to match this contact because we are only passing the response. Perhaps in the destination, we can't really identify which contact to be updated. So again, since SleekFlow is using phone number as the identifier key, you can say phone number, perhaps just the same as the destination. And then also select the variables. This time we're using the contact variables. So also phone number, and then put in the double bracket. So in sum, webhook is the default data that you can pass. An HTTP request gives you the flexibility to passing more like timely updated information or to a customized level of details. So say if I cater your question correctly, Kenny. No problem. Okay, cool. Again, if anyone don't have question at the moment, it's totally fine. You can explore further. And if you have any question at any time, feel free to reach out to us, and we will be more than happy to help you with the questions. And like yesterday or the previous sessions, this recording will be shared after the webinar. So hopefully you enjoyed this series of webinars. And if you have any feedback, you can also let us know. And it's my pleasure to meet you all. Thank you.